Smoke 'em if you got 'em, kids. What's up, dogs? Groovy Grass here, and today we're going to be talking about this. Sleep's Holy Mountain. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of a fan of Sleep. If you couldn't, piece that together, I quite enjoy the band. This bit's going on too long. What is there to say about this record that hasn't already been said? I mean, to call it a cornerstone of the stoner doom genre is just probably the understatement of the last 420 centuries. It is a stoner doom, right? Like, I know there were records made before it and after it that fall under the category of stoner doom, but it's just so... I cannot think of a more iconic record to the genre. Or a more influential record to the genre, of course, outside of the Black Sabbath records. Like, it really cannot be overstated how important this record is to modern stoner doom. And I just made a lot of people feel really old by calling this an influence on modern stoner doom, implying that it's quite old. Which it is. I mean, it's pushing... It's 33 years old. Goodness. It was only 6 when I was born. Man. Oh, and before I forget, please remember to, like, subscribe, hit the bell, hype the video, all that. Share it with your grandma, because I just really want to bring doom to the world. The galaxy, and then the universe, and then maybe even the multiverse if I have the time. Yeah, do it. Like, subscribe, hit bell, hype, share, all other YouTube stuff. Do, now, do. Now, before I get into, showing off riffs and talking about the tone and whatnot, I just want to talk about this record. This is Sleep's second studio album, following the appropriately named Volume 1. They just had a member leave the band. They were now a power trio, as can be observed on the back. And, yeah, it was just kind of a big change for them. It was recorded, 1991, 1992, to the best of my knowledge, and released in November 92 over in Europe, and March 93 here in the States. I don't really know much else about the recording process. I mean, I looked all over, couldn't find much. If you know a good source, leave it in the comments. Maybe we'll have a revised version of this video in the future. My vinyl copy here is one of the lovely purple ones. It shows up more red on this camera, interestingly. But no, it's quite an interesting shade of, like, it's between, like, indigo and proper violet. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to talk unscripted about this album for a second. It really, I can't describe how important this record is to my life. This was the first Sleep record I'd ever heard, you see, before I even heard Dope Smoker, right? Voice crack of the millennium right there. But anyway, listen to it, before Dope Smoker, before any of that, before I knew about any of that, before I even smoked the weed. Yeah, I know, crazy. Fun fact, the first thing I ever listened to after I smoked was, Moody Production, O2, O2 Squeaky, if you go way back like I do. His cover of Hot Lava Man. First thing I ever listened to after I smoked. Shout out O2. Seriously. This is one of the most important records in getting me, into stoner, into doom, up with the Black Sabbath records, up with Electric Wizard records, up with all that, right? It is just a cornerstone of me as a musician. I cannot stress that enough. As you can tell, and I mentioned before, I quite enjoy Sleep, especially this record. This is probably my favorite record, over Dope Smoker, over The Sciences, over Volume 1, over, the Ionic Life EP, over the live albums and all the bootlegs. This, I mean, Aquarian is one of my favorite songs, period. Blanket across everything, right? Okay, to say I like this album is just such... I can't even think of the word for how much of an understatement it is. I would not be the person I am today if this record did not exist or I had not heard it. If you haven't listened to it, what the hell are you still doing here? Go listen to it. Screw me. Go listen to it now. Additionally, I mean, this is one of the reasons I even frickin' smoke. And my channel's called Groovy Grass. And I'm not talking about no Kentucky Blue or whatever it's called. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about sod. I'm not talking about plant material. Well, I am talking about plant material. But I'm not talking about frickin' grass. You know what I'm talking about. I can only gesticulate. At this point, I can only gesticulate about this record like a freaking ape. Because, that's all there's left to say about it, really. Just gesticulating at it enthusiastically in the positive, right? Like, let's talk about the tone, and then let's hear it. So the sleep tone is honestly pretty easy to achieve, but very hard to master, right? Generally, the rule is high in mids and treble, and for the guitar, low in bass, right? Not necessarily cutting it all the way, although sometimes you have to, depending on your amp or your guitar or what pedal you're using to achieve such a sound. For me, my go-to sleep sound is literally just the Minotaur Evil Eye, pictured here. Seriously, I have a video on it right here, up there somewhere, and I have seriously, I have a video on it up there somewhere on the screen. I've described it as sleep in a box. That's because it is, right? Seriously. They're pretty pricey. I got mine for a good price used. Shout out Atomic Music. But yeah, no, it's... you can get the sleep sound other ways. In my opinion, if you just have a fairly good clean amp, like a neutral sounding clean amp, yeah, that is sleep in a can. As for my amp, I'm just using a PVPA 400. Had to look back and check. Yeah, it's great. I call it a Star Wars droid because look at it. It looks like a frickin' GNK power droid. Yeah, I just called it its government name. But I just have the bass set to around 6. The treble dimed. Bass again around 5, 6 on this. It goes up to 10. It's kind of like a guitar knob, right? Like the actual knob itself, you know what I mean. And the treble also dimed. So basically identical settings between the channel I'm using and the master channel. In the spirit of Matt Pike's tone, this does have a million different channels that you can all customize. I only ever really used the first one, but they're there if I need them. It's solid state, and it's beautiful, honestly. People in this genre tend to... This is one of the holdout genres where people kind of shit on solid state, although that has been going down, thankfully. I appreciate that. Yeah, you don't need a tube amp for sleep sound. Does it help? Yeah, when you're playing live and need to be really loud. But when you're just in your bedroom, I would say that having a tube amp is actually a detriment, right? Now let me explain. Because with tube amps, you need to turn them relatively loud to get them to sound right. And you could use an attenuator, but that's a whole other different can of worms in terms of affecting the sound, right? So I personally just don't like attenuators. Call me a Luddite or stupid or whatever I am. Yeah, I just don't mess with them. So anyway, you have to frickin' crank it to get it to sound right, And when you're playing live or you have a house in the middle of nowhere, yeah, that's sick. That's frickin' sweet, Lois. But when you're just in a bedroom, it just ain't it, right? As cool as it is, it ain't it. And with solid state amps, the beauty is basically it sounds the same no matter how loud it is, right? So if you have a good sound, it'll sound good all the way down here or all the way up here, right? Like it's just a lot more convenient, obviously, but it's just a lot more sensible to use in, you know, the modern context of a dude in their bedroom, or even some shitbird shit kicker local band playing a bar. You know, I've been in one of those. It just makes a lot more sense, right? This isn't a pissing contest. This isn't a dick measuring competition, right? Like it's just, you got to think practically, right? I know that's a lot to ask for coming from my fellow stoners, but yeah, you kind of got to think practically, right? And the thing that's actually really important in changing the sound, aside from whatever thing makes it distorted or not, is this bad boy, the cabinet, more specifically the speakers, right? Glenn Frickert has a bunch of great videos on them. I'm not going to parrot them. Go watch his video. I would perform the tests and such myself, but I do not have the means to. He does. He's done the work. It's good work. Go watch it. Stop being crazy. Yeah, this cabinet, it's just an old Marshall. I think it's like the MG412 or something. It's what shipped with the valve states back in the day, right? You know, the amp that like Chuck Schuldiner and a bunch of other people use. The cabinets are just some Celestion. Honestly, I forget which, and I can't be damned to open the box. You can find out relatively easily across the internet. Do your own research. Hell yeah. Use your brain. Think critically. I know, what a concept, right? But yeah, point is, they sound friggin' sweet Lois as well. You know, they're well seasoned, they're well broken in, and they're just kick ass, man. My guitar is this cheap old Chipson that I recently got. Haven't done anything to it really. The pickups are stock. They sound pretty good, in all honesty, but they're really weird. Go watch my video on it. Hell yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's do what we came here for and actually listen to some riffs, shall we? I mean, this album isn't exactly famous for its clean tones, but here's one I can show off for the boomers and the chuds. looking. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm not learning some grass. I'm sorry guys. No. Sorry. That was a Joyo analog chorus, by the way, because somebody probably cares. full disclosure with the ant hissing behind me. I've never actually taken the time to learn Name's Baptism, as poser as that is, and I don't really have time to learn it. So instead of playing it poorly for you, here's a couple bars of Hot Lava Man, I guess. Something like that. And that's about the long and the short of it, really. This record's fantastic. Sleep, Holy Mountain, go listen to it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Groovy Grass. You've been amazing. Now please, like, subscribe, hit the bell, share it with your grandma, hype it if I didn't say that already, and just, yeah, we gotta bring Doom to, the world, galaxy, universe, potentially multiverse, if I can find the time for that. Yeah. Peace out. Be good. Or else.